movie star. And how do we get him?
You're an act.
You stop Brink Simmons! What are you gonna do with that?
The story shifts to London, England, where Agent Nathan briefs Director Knighton on a high-stakes mission. A crucial shipment was stolen 2 nights ago, and recovering it is top priority. When Knighton asks what was inside, Nathan admits he doesn't know, only that it's set to be sold on the black market for $10 billion, drawing in major terrorist threats. Nathan is granted full authority to assemble a team and do whatever it takes to recover the item, codenamed The Handle. Nathan's first recruit is Orson, one of the top agents around, though he's been erratic and unstable in recent years, developing odd fears and living a luxury vacation lifestyle. The next day, Nathan flies to Morocco to meet him, reminding Orson that after blowing over $2 million on getaways, it's time to earn those perks. Orson agrees, on one condition: the luxury continues. They immediately head to Madrid to meet the rest of the team, JJ and Sarah. The team jumps into action, targeting a man carrying a disc with vital intel about the artifact. Sarah instructs Jane to follow him, while the rest set up an ambush. But Jane is the one ambushed, revealing they're not the only ones on the mission. After Jane is taken out, the rest of the team is picked off one by one, and the mission spirals fast. Orson recognizes the attackers' tactics and warns them. Mike and John, his ex-colleagues who turned rogue, may be close. Next up, Orson is targeted, but always a step ahead, he drops 2 enemies and signals JJ. Together, they take out the threat trying to grab the disc carrier. They escape, but not without being chased. During the pursuit, Sarah copies the entire disc with Nathan's help. Still, they're surrounded by Mike's men, furious that the target died of a heart attack during the chase. The disc ends up split in 2, one half with a time and location, the other encrypted beyond Sarah's reach. Nathan decides to impersonate the dead man to meet the buyer, ID'd by facial recognition as Ben Harris, an associate of infamous arms dealer Greg Simons. Getting to Greg is nearly impossible, except through one of his parties. To make it happen, they enlist Danny, a celebrity actor and Greg's superfan, blackmailing him with footage Sarah found on his phone, showing him with his sister-in-law. The plan works better than expected. When Greg hears Danny's coming to France, he sends a party invite, along with a $10 million check. Total fanboy. At the party, Danny wins Greg over, and the team notices Greg's assistant handles his phone. Sarah must get close to her, but things get dicey when Mike shows up to crash the event. A race breaks out between Orson and Mike to reach the phone while Sarah tries to clone it from a short distance. Just then, John appears, threatening their cover. Orson fights one of Mike's near-invincible men upstairs and eventually wins. Once Sarah finishes cloning the phone, the team makes a quick getaway. Sarah's genius comes through. She's planted multiple bugs in Greg's office. Through the mics, they hear Greg speak to Alexander, a Russian mob boss who has the handle, asking him to find a buyer. Nathan's fed up. This is Mike's second disruption. He calls Knighton to ask if there's a possible mole inside the agency. Next, they must break into the Russian base to plant software that lets them track the handle or where it's being sold. Before leaving, Orson grabs a few valuables to make it look like a break-in, hiding any trace of the hack. The next morning, Sarah learns Greg is flying to Turkey to meet a man named Kasim, who claims to have found a buyer for the artifact. That means Danny has another part to play, this time with Sarah as his girlfriend. Since Greg is known to seduce his friends' girlfriends, they use it. When Danny casually mentions he's dating Sarah, Greg immediately starts hitting on her, and even gives her a car from his collection. At the same time, Orson and JJ are tailing Kasim, who's just arrived, only to realize things are getting messy since Mike is tracking him too. When Kasim leaves, he drops a newspaper that Ben later picks up. Orson decides to follow Ben instead. After dealing with Ben's bodyguard, he chases Ben through the packed city streets on a motorcycle. Ben makes it to an elevator, but Orson takes the stairs to keep his signal jammer active. If Ben's phone gets a signal, Danny and Sarah could be in real danger. When Orson reaches the top floor, Ben catches him off guard. They fight, and Orson ends up killing him. Thanks to the newspaper, they now have the key to decrypt the disk, revealing the artifact is an AI that can breach any country's nuclear missile systems. But it needs an activation code, which Orson now has to obtain by posing as Ben. The catch, he must speak directly with Greg during the deal. So, Sarah will oversee the call, using live voice-mimicking software to sound like Ben. At the meeting spot, The team finally sees the buyer, someone willing to drop $10 million for the handle. When Orson makes the call, Sarah's tech works perfectly, fooling Greg into giving the activation code. Orson has what he needs, but the Russians grow wary. At the same time, the $10 billion Greg set aside for the deal vanishes from his account, setting off alarms. With guns aimed at Orson, JJ jumps in, starting a shootout. Orson uses the chaos to grab a car with the artifact and takes off, while the team warns Sarah to get out of the mansion. As expected, Mike shows up in a weaponized helicopter, wiping out the Russians and sending his men after Orson to stop him from keeping the handle. Danny quickly hotwires a car, and as Sarah heads to the garage, she runs into Greg, who hits on her, but luckily doesn't suspect anything. Before Greg is alerted to the chaos, Danny and Sarah are already gone, triggering another intense chase. Meanwhile, Mike gains control, defeating the Russians and reclaiming the artifact. But just as his helicopter lifts off, JJ nails a crucial shot, saving Orson. Danny, meanwhile, has to rely on movie stunt experience to swerve through a storm of gunfire. As the chase heats up, Sarah proves her skills go far beyond hacking, while Danny steps up to help get them out in one piece.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
Just in time, Orson arrives in a chopper, firing a few missiles to clear their path.
Let's hope there's 2 more seats in that chopper.
Once the team is secure, Nathan updates them. Mike has gone rogue from the rival agency and plans to use the artifact for his own gain. With few choices left, Orson goes back to confront Greg. Sarah drops a bomb. She's stolen all of Greg's clients and data from his system. With nowhere to run, Greg caves and reveals Mike's endgame. Trent and Arnold, who were at the yacht party but stayed low-key, control nearly all the world's gold. Their plan is to reprogram the AI in the handle to trigger a worldwide blackout, pushing the planet into a new dark age where gold rules again, and they become the ultimate overlords. That night, Orson and the crew launch their mission, with Greg and Danny acting as bait. Greg's status as a notorious global criminal puts Danny's acting skills to the test. Greg quickly reminds Trent and Arnold he never got his $1 billion cut from the deal. With smug confidence, they brush him off, saying Mike finished the job and earned it. Greg stays composed and says he traveled a long way for his money. Right before things escalate, he asks for a quick demo. Suddenly, missiles strike. Coolly, Greg tells Danny to hand out documents listing the names and locations of their families, including Mike's. Before leaving, Greg warns them that every person on that list will be hit by a missile in 90 seconds if he doesn't get paid. As panic sets in, Orson slips into the compound and wipes out most of the guards, while Trent, Arnold, and Mike are too focused on Greg's threat. Once Greg leaves, their confidence turns to full-on fear. When Mike sees his commission slipping away, his alliance with Trent and Arnold starts to crack. Tension rises fast. But then, in a shocking move, Mike backs off and lets the payment go through. Secretly, he's cloning their access codes. As soon as his tech guy confirms full access to their accounts, Mike tells his men to take them out. By the time Orson hits the top floor, everyone's already dead, except Mike, who tries to ambush him. After a quick final hit, Orson takes back the artifact, once again saving the day. JJ and Sarah arrive just in time to extract him before backup shows up. The next day, Orson hands the artifact to Nathan, who tells the team Greg disappeared with the billion, but he adds that Danny is safe, and actually filming a movie with Greg as the director. The team decides to visit the set, funded by the jewels they took from the Russians. The film ends with Danny copying Greg's legendary performance for his next role, with Greg himself behind the camera. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to support the channel. Thank you for watching.